with all the risky behaviors that teenagers and youth are dealing with, to include teen pregnancy, truancy, substance abuse, dropout, and the list goes on and on. It is not surprising that less than 13% of our youth today attend church. Today, we're going to talk with LifeLight.org Communications about how they can captivate the youth and keep them engaged in something that is life-changing. Hang on to your seat. You're in for a treat. I'm Kimberly Warren, and you are watching Joy in Our Town. Alan Green, we are so glad you're here.
So glad to be here. I'm honored to be here.
We're talking about a hot topic of how to engage youth that are distracted by so many negative choices and making unwise decisions that can affect them for the rest of their lives. Tell us what LifeLight has to offer not the youth just of Missouri, but around the world.
Well, it's no secret, Kimberly, that our youth are in trouble. I mean, we hear it every day on the news. God got a hold of my wife and I in our hearts years ago. He reached us through music, and for us, it's been about the music, the message, and then changed lives. We have these festivals that we've started to have all over the country. We're going to have one in Missouri, and we have one in South Dakota. And what we see is youth, they come. I mean, they come sometimes just out of curiosity. We offer the festivals for free, and they hear a message of hope and love that's only found through Jesus Christ, but it's a relevant message. It kind of speaks their language, and we see kids come that maybe haven't been in church ever, or for maybe many years they've checked out of church. Many kids we see that they aren't Christians. They have no knowledge of what the claims of Christ are at all, but they're interested in knowing.
You know, teenage suicide and depression and violence is on the rise. Do you think youth have it tougher today, or is it just more in your face and more prevalent?
Well, I think it is pervasive. I think they do have it tougher. I mean, some of the same problems, the same principles have always been there with youth. You know, we're all rebellious, we're all sinful by nature, but I think it's much harder today. I think back to the time when I was in high school, and now the difference is it's so accessible. They're hit with so many things. Global phones, internet, schools, social networks. The media just, you know, just barrages them with so many things that really it's hard for them to find truth. And, you know, we know that they're looking for hope. Everybody's looking for hope. And it's not found in it's not found in drugs or alcohol. It's not found even in their family. Hope and peace and life aren't even found in the church if it's apart from Christ. And kids tell us that they want to know about Jesus. They're a little skeptical about the church. Well, the way to get them back into the church and the way to get them real help is for them to have an encounter with Christ.
So some people look at the concert style and the festival and say, what does paintball have to do with faith? What does shopping, food, snacks, a 5K run, and volleyball have to do with values and character?
Well, it's for one thing, it's fun. A festival's fun, and you know, Christians have fun, and
they
so
do. Wow.
Our you know, years ago, Vicki and I went on a missions trip in '98, and God grabbed a hold of our hearts on that missions trip and launched a ministry. He gave us this vision for a festival. And a lot of folks will say, well, what is a festival? And you just described some of the things. I mean, yeah, it's crazy food, and it's music, and it's all styles of music across generations.
100 bands.
Across cultures. Something for the whole family. But what it has to do with it is when you can get people in an environment where they can have fun, and then in a relevant way you can present the gospel, which is what we do. We do it from every stage, through every genre of music. We do it at the children's area. Yeah, they may have paintball, but they're on the grounds where they can move from the paintball and hear a speaker speak into their lives about what Jesus really said, and then evaluate that news for themselves.
When we go on your website, we're going to see about all the different concerts and festivals that you have, not only in America, but around the world. What else do you have to offer the youth, so it's not just a one lifetime experience, or like summer camp, you go and then you're back in your regular humdrum world? Well,
that's a really good question, because a lot of times people go to an event, a camp, a festival, a concert, and that's the high. I mean, it's like, wow, that was incredible. Now what? And so that's one of the questions we started asking. And most evangelists, most evangelistic organizations, the question they're asking is, how do we follow up and how do we properly disciple? Always we connect with the local church. The reason we're doing a festival in Bethany, Missouri is because the churches have invited us, they've embraced what we're doing. But we also have some tools that are on our website. This culture today, not only young people, but especially young people, are so connected to global phones, smartphones, the website, Facebook, social networks. And so we have tools there that they can get real help. We're even working and partnering on discipleship and follow-up programs through their phones. But what we find happens is out of a festival, out of a big event, when people have encountered Christ at an event, then it launches an ongoing ministry in the community. So in Bethany, Missouri, just like in South Dakota, really just like even in Haiti. We did a festival in Haiti, and young people there were hungry, just like they are here. They're hungry for something relevant. And we had ongoing support there with pastors and churches who helped follow up.
So now, when you come to one of these festivals, is it something that the entire family can experience, or do you just drop the kids off the door and come pick them back up in a couple days, or is it something for everybody in all ages?
It is something for all ages. You know, we really have a heart for youth because our youth today are very transparent. And what we find at a festival is they'll fill out cards and they'll say things like, please pray for me, and they'll describe a mess with their family, or my boyfriend is addicted to drugs, or some will say, I was suicidal until I came here, I found hope. But in order to reach the youth, we really want the whole families there. I mean, I think back, my generation, our generation, the baby boomers, are responsible for a lot of problems because youth saw a faith that maybe wasn't real. The youth of America are not interested in chameleons. They're not interested in people being one way on Sunday and a different way through the week. They're interested in finding a real faith. And so we do try to stage events that would attract the entire family. Sometimes we'll see mom and dad show up, and it's kind of funny. They'll walk on the grounds, and then maybe a couple of teenagers or a preteen, 12 or 14-year-old son or daughter will leave and go another direction to another stage. And then there's something for mom and dad to do, perhaps at a main stage or a coffee house stage or a seminar stage. But yet the whole family's being ministered to, and they feel safe at the festival environment. You
know, you've been dealing with youth for a long time, and this LifeLight over 15 years. You've gone all over the world, not just Missouri. This is a global thing. Are the youth in Missouri unique, or do they have some of the same issues, reoccurring themes that you keep seeing?
I think people all over the world and youth are the same in that they have a hunger to know the truth. And it's a simple message. The truth is found in a relationship with Jesus Christ. I do believe that people of Missouri, where we're getting ready to do the festival the end of June, there's a lot of hurt. You know, there's been a lot of hurt because of the economic crisis or family issues. But we see a lot of the same things all over the world. I mean, it's amazing. We did a festival in Pakistan and in Haiti, and we have an ongoing work in Mexico. And we'll see young people who, maybe because of the technology, they've connected to the Western world, the good and the bad. And they're hungry for something relevant, something that will speak their language and yet convey the truth of the gospel message.
Now, aside from the 2 or 3 day festival, depending upon where they go, what do you have to say to parents, to youth pastors, to ministers of the gospel, anyone that's running a faith-based entity, or maybe just teachers as well? What are the 2 or 3 things that you think we're missing? Are we not communicating right to the youth? Why are we losing so many? Why is depression still on the rise, dropout, and all of these negative characteristics still, associated with our youth?
Well, I think there's 2 things. I think we're fighting the competition of the world. I mean, and it's a spiritual battle. The devil wants your kids. We love your kids, and we want to reach them with the truth of the gospel. I think it's more, for churches to reach kids, I think it's more than just, quote, having relevant music. I think some churches go, hey, if we have a good band, maybe it'll attract the youth. Again, the youth of today say several things. They say, Jesus we're interested in. We're not sure about the church. For whatever reason, for whatever historical reasons, there's skepticism. And one of those things is they're looking for practical ways to put their faith to work. If it's unloading a truck in Joplin, Missouri, where there's a tornado, youth will say, I'm in. I want to do something with my faith. I think once the youth encounter the truth of the gospel. Jesus says, in John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I think we've shied away from that in a way to be, when we say being relevant, we also mean being truthful. And I think that, I think there's hope for the youth to come back into the churches, but they're looking for it to be real and to be radical in their faith. In Jesus' day, in the book of Acts, followers of Christ were radical. And we're seeing that a lot in other countries. When people become Christians, they become, leaders and radical in their faith. And it's not about causes or political agenda. It's just about being radical followers of Christ and modeling what he said to do.
Alan, can you share in closing any success stories, how this has been life-changing for a young person or their family?
There's so many. And, what we say as LifeLight is that we're taking the church outside the walls. We offer our events for free. Obviously, they're not free, but we offer them for free because we're an extension of the local church. The church is God's design. I remember at one festival, though, we were on main stage. It was more middle-of-the-road music. There was another stage that was playing more of the hardcore music. And one of the speakers, who was one of the musicians, he talked about an impact. He stood up from stage, he stopped his music, and he shared his story. And he said, I was 19. I was ready to commit suicide. He said, I attempted suicide. I was in the ambulance. They saved my life physically. But he said, I gave my life to Christ. I surrendered to Christ. And then he just asked the group of kids, and there's, maybe thousands of kids out in front of the stage. It's like a rock concert. They're packed against the stage. And he said, I want you to do something now. I want everybody to back up beyond that soundboard out there. And that's kind of unheard of because kids are, they're ready to rock and they're packed against the stage. Right. They all backed up behind the soundboard. And he said, anybody that's thought about suicide in the last month, raise your hand. Thousands, hundreds of hands went up. In the last 2 weeks, in the last week, he broke it down. He said, anybody that, if it weren't for this concert thing, this festival today, maybe you wouldn't be with us. Kids still raise their hands.
Wow.
And then he said, if you want real change, if you want real hope in your life, on the count of 3, I want you to come forward. And over 300 young people ran and dropped to their knees.
Oh, wow.
Many of them weeping, and we were like, we need the church here now to help connect with these kids. That's the kind of thing we see happening at festivals. And we get emails. We had one from a kid that said, hey, I was ready to overdose on drugs. Jesus met me and changed my life.
Wow, you heard it right there. If you want to have your youth group or your family be a part of something radical and life-changing, go to the website LifeLight.org. That's LifeLight.org. It will tell you about all of the captivating activities and online activities that they have for your family to be involved in. It also mentions the different festivals. It's called Destination LifeLight Music Festival. One's coming to Missouri, June 29th through 30th. We're going to put the information on the screen so you can call them directly if you'd like to be a part of this movement and this life-changing experience. Alan Green, we want to thank you for being here. We wish you well. Hope it's 5,000 plus
you bet.
this year.
Whatever God brings.
Yes. I'm Kimberly Warren, and we want to thank you for watching Joy in Our Town.